Good day to each and every one of you. I am Jenilyn A. Badilla. Today, I am going to discuss about the psychosocial development by Erik Erikson. There are 8 stages of psychosocial development. Erikson's theory of psychosocial development gives us a way to view the development of the person's entire lifespan. So the first stage, trust versus mistrust or the infancy. Second stage, autonomy versus shame and doubt or the early childhood. Third, initiative versus guilt or the preschool. Fourth, industry versus inferiority or during the school age. And fifth, identity versus full confusion or the adolescence. Sixth, intimacy versus isolation or young adulthood. Seventh, generativity versus stagnation or the middle adulthood. And the last is the ego integrity versus despair or immaturity. So let's begin. So the first stage, trust versus mistrust. So the first stage of the theory is the infant basic need being met, so which comes from the mother. For example, by giving them food, another, sustenance, and comfort. The child's understanding of the world comes from the parent and the interactions that they have with the child at these points. But parents who are unreliable and often reject or harm the child as an infant, it leads to mistrust. Next is the second stage, autonomy versus shame and doubt. So in this stage, child needs to develop a sense of personal control over physical skills and sense of independence. For example, so as you can see in the picture, the child is fixing her shoelaces. Another example is choosing what to eat or choosing what toys to play with. So by this, they will develop the autonomy by letting them do it by their own. So shame and doubt. Shame and doubt develop when the child is shamed or forced to be dependent in areas which she or he is capable of independence. Or if childs develop feelings of self-doubt, shame in dealing with others, or if child's independence is opposed, the child develops the feelings of the self-doubt. The third stage is initiative versus guilt. So it occurs between the ages of about 3 and 5. So this stage is centered on developing a sense of self-initiative. Children who are allowed and encouraged to engage in self-directed play emerge with a sense of strong initiative, while those who are discouraged may begin to feel a sense of guilt over their self-initiated activities. So the fourth is industry versus inferiority. As children engage in social interaction with friends and academic activities at school, so they begin to develop a sense of pride and accomplishment in their work and abilities. Children who are praised and encouraged develop a sense of competence, but those who are discouraged are left with a sense of inferiority. It's all about identity versus rule confusion. This is the teen's transition from childhood to adulthood. So they are starting to feel confused or insecure for themselves. They become aware of how they look. So Erikson believed that this stage was particularly crucial and that forging a strong identity serves as a basis for finding future direction in life. Those who find a sense of identity feel secure, independent, and ready to face the future, while those who remain confused may feel lost, insecure, and unsure of their place in the world. As young adults, now in our sixth stage, the intimacy versus isolation, we turn our focus to understanding this stage. So we slowly understand who we are and we start to let go of the relationships we had built earlier in order to fit in. We ask ourselves if we can love, if we can make a long-term commitment. We are confident and happy. We cannot form intimate relationships. We might end up the feeling isolated and lonely. So our friends and partners are now central to our development in this stage. So the seventh stage, generativity versus stagnation. At this stage, a person experiencing generativity is concerned with the next generation and helping others, as well as they are well adjusted and satisfied with life. So in contrast, stagnation involves not seeking outlet for generativity. So our concern is generativity. So if we think that we are able to lead the next generation into this world, so we are happy. If we did not resolve some conflicts earlier, so we can become pessimistic and experience stagnation. Last stage is integrity versus despair. So in the final or the eighth stage, so we face the ego integrity versus despair. So as we grow older, we tend to slow down and begin to look back over our lives. So we asked, how have I done? So we think we did well. So we develop feelings of contentment and integrity. If not, we can experience despair and become grumpy and bitter. So it is also the time to compare us with mankind. So that's all for the 80 stages of the psychosocial development by Erik Erikson.